Would it have bothered you if your daughter, Whitney, was gay?
Absolutely.
It would have bothered you?
Have you ever wondered how much courage it takes for a woman to come out as LGBT, especially in an era when a single rumor could erase her career, destroy her reputation, and turn her into a public mockery? For many, it was nearly impossible. And the tragedy is that 17 beautiful, talented black actresses were forced to live in that fear, loving in silence, hiding their true selves, and ultimately carrying that secret to the grave. They left behind not only sorrow, but also a haunting reminder of a cruel society where people were not allowed to live authentically. In this video, we will take you inside the hidden love affairs, the chilling truths, and the painful realities that Hollywood tried to bury for decades. 15. Nell Carter. The shocking will that left everything to her secret partner. In the late 1980s, American audiences thought Nell Carter was living a life of glory. She dazzled on the Broadway stage, captivating millions through the sitcom Gimme a Break with her radiant smile. But beneath the makeup, behind the bright lights, Nell was a woman with a broken heart. 2 failed marriages to George Krenicki and then Roger LaRocque had closed her off, leaving her with no faith in love. In the fall of 1993, at a party in Beverly Hills, fate led her to meet Ann Kaiser. Ann wasn't a star, just an ordinary woman from the Midwest, working in administrative management in the entertainment industry. But it was her quiet demeanor and calm presence that touched Nell's heart. Just a few months later, their love quietly ignited in hotel rooms across Los Angeles. The night was their veil, and they held hands like sinners, both afraid and yearning. One proof of their relationship was that Nell adopted 2 sons, Joshua and Daniel. In their home, Ann cared for the children like a second mother. But in the outside world, she was simply a close friend. Late at night, Nell would cry, her suppressed grief pouring out. Ann would silently wipe her tears and whisper, "Let them think what they want, as long as we still have each other." The tragedy struck in 2001 when Ann passed away. Nell collapsed, but she gritted her teeth and kept going. Just 3 years later, the actress suffered a stroke and passed away at the age of 54, leaving the whole country in mourning. But when the will was read, Hollywood was shaken. All of her assets, along with the custody of her 2 sons, were left to Ann Kaiser. The problem was that Ann had passed away long before that. Nell's family immediately opposed the will, claiming it was invalid, and they prepared to sue for the estate. During the legal battle, Nell's lawyer presented handwritten letters and private photos that had never been seen before. These pieces of evidence revealed that Ann and Nell had lived together as a true family for nearly 10 years. In one letter, Nell's handwriting trembled as she wrote, "If it weren't for Ann, I would have been dead long ago." Those words were enough to expose a truth. Ann wasn't just a secret lover, but Nell's greatest support throughout her life. When the truth was revealed, not only did the family react with shock, but so did the public. Though the law required the estate to be divided, the biggest shock was the revelation. Nell Carter had spent her entire life loving a woman in the shadows, and even in death, she wanted to leave everything to that love. 14. Ruby Dee. A shocking secret behind an open marriage. If Eartha chose to wear the mask of seduction, Ruby Dee captured hearts through her intellect and compassion. People believed she had a golden marriage with Ossie Davis, but reality told a very different story. In the early 1970s, as the sexual liberation movement spread across America, Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis, a couple who symbolized black artists in the civil rights movement, made a decision that stunned their friends. They agreed to have an open marriage. On paper, Ruby and Ossie were still husband and wife, still holding hands at public events, still standing side by side at marches against racism. But behind closed doors, both were free to find pleasure elsewhere. Ossie later admitted in his memoir that he had several casual encounters with fellow actresses. For Ruby, however, that freedom was not just a few fleeting dates. It became the shield that hid a much bigger secret: her love for a woman. The rumors began in 1973 when Ruby attended a Harlem gala with Ossie. In the middle of the crowd, Ruby disappeared for a while, only to be spotted later with a short-haired woman in a leather jacket, holding hands in a quiet hallway. The whispers grew louder, but no one dared to go public. A close friend later revealed that Ruby had written dozens of love letters locked away in a private drawer. One of them read, "He may have the whole world, but you are my world." The real shock came when Ruby passed away on June 11, 2014. At her funeral in Riverside Church, New York, politicians, artists, and the public filled the hall. But in the middle of the solemn service, a frail, silver-haired woman suddenly approached the casket. She placed a sealed envelope on it and walked away without a word. People said the envelope contained the love letters Ruby had written and kept hidden for decades. This rumor was never confirmed, but it cast a tragic shadow over Ruby Dee's legacy. She had spent her life fighting for truth and justice, yet her truest love remained hidden, revealed only in the final moment, among tears and applause. 13. Eartha Kitt, from proud Catwoman to a secret love with a legendary actress. The world was electrified when Eartha Kitt appeared in the Batman television series, embodying Catwoman with her sharp gaze and sultry, husky voice. Her wild beauty and fierce personality made her a cultural icon. But few knew that behind the mask of seduction was a scarred heart, a woman who lived in constant fear of judgment. In the 1950s, as Eartha's singing and acting career began to rise globally, she had a fateful encounter in Paris. It was at an art gala where she met Marlene Dietrich, the legendary Hollywood actress, an icon of beauty and timeless allure. Their first handshake seemed polite, but the lingering eye contact sparked a story Eartha would never acknowledge publicly. Whispers ran through artistic circles. Eartha and Marlene had spent many private evenings together in Paris, Berlin, and New York. Hotel staff claimed to have seen Marlene holding Eartha's hand in a hallway at midnight, both laughing like schoolgirls. But when asked, both women chose silence. No photographs ever surfaced, only stories and stolen glances. The bitter twist came in 1968 when Eartha publicly criticized the Vietnam War at the White House. Her career in America collapsed. Blacklisted, she was forced to continue performing in Europe. It was said that during this exile, Marlene became Eartha's source of strength. But Marlene, too, was a woman of many secrets, with countless affairs with both men and women. For Eartha, that bond was both comfort and unbearable pain. When Eartha passed away on December 25, 2008, most farewells celebrated Catwoman, her unique voice, her boldness. Few knew of the secret relationship she carried to her grave. Years later, an article in Metro Weekly reignited the rumor of her love with Marlene, exposing a hidden side Eartha never revealed. If it was true, then Eartha Kitt, the proud woman who once dared to challenge the White House, still could not openly embrace a love that might have destroyed her already turbulent career. 12. Phyllis Hyman, the giant diva who collapsed in the dark. In 1979, when the album You Know How to Love Me was released, Phyllis Hyman was hailed as the new R&B queen. Nearly 5 feet 11 inches tall, stunning in presence, with a cutting voice that could slice through an entire orchestra, she became the center of every stage. But just as the public chanted Phyllis's name under dazzling lights, she quietly began to slide into an abyss. In the early 80s, the press chased after brief flings between Phyllis and male artists, but behind the scenes, Insiders whispered a different story. A female songwriter who collaborated in a New York studio often appeared with her. Many times they left the studio after midnight, sat in a dark-tinted car, and instead of heading to a hotel, as people assumed, disappeared into a separate apartment. A technician revealed he heard a duet recording of the two with lyrics not included in any official contract. That recording was pulled from the archive just a few days later. In 1994, under the weight of depression and pressure, Phyllis began taking sleeping pills with alcohol. In the drawer of a wooden cabinet, she hid a small notebook. Family later said it contained pages of metaphors with two initials repeatedly appearing that matched the woman's name. One entry bore a clear date. November 1994. If this love must die in the dark, then at least I lived truly, even if only for a few hours. On June 30th, 1995, 6 p.m., Phyllis was scheduled for a rehearsal for the Apollo Theater anniversary. At 3:15 p.m., she was found collapsed in her apartment, surrounded by empty pill bottles. At 45, the giant diva ended her career in a devastating finale. The public saw only a sudden death, but friends quietly passed around, leaked diary pages, evidence of a same-sex love suppressed and lived in silence for more than a decade. 11. Cicely Tyson. The interview buried for a century. Cicely Tyson was once an irreplaceable icon of Hollywood. She rose to fame with the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, 1974, won multiple Emmys, and was praised as the most dignified black woman on screen. The public saw a flawless Cicely, a moral model. But the more they admired her, the less they could imagine that she, too, had a hidden corner kept secret her whole life. It all began in the late 1970s when she was preparing for The Women of Brewster Place, 1989. Cicely was said to be unusually close with a young actress in the company. Rumors intensified in the summer of 1982 when many saw her and that woman staying late at a rented Harlem apartment after rehearsals. A colleague recalled in detail, "One night I went back to the studio to get a script. The light in Cicely's room was still on, and I clearly heard their giggles. It didn't sound like work laughter, but like two people lost in intimacy." The rumors spread, but were quickly smothered, because everyone knew Cicely's dignified image could not be torn by such unbelievable tales. Yet the tragedy did not end there. When Cicely passed in 2021, at age 96, it seemed everything would be buried forever. Then an archivist revealed that in an unaired 1992 interview tape, Cicely spoke of, "Family is the one I choose, and love needs no title." She named no one, explained nothing, but those words were enough to stun the public. Shock rippled through people's hearts. Could the most dignified icon have lived a life of love in silence, a love never acknowledged? Her death, instead of closing the book, opened a mystery more haunting than ever. 10. Whitney Houston, a love song that drowned in a bathtub. Let's go back to 1980, a scorching summer in East Orange, when Whitney Houston was only 17 and met Robin Crawford. The first glance on a basketball court began a story the world would only learn about decades later. The two young women quickly became everything to each other. Robin recalled they once kissed in a small room in New Jersey, the walls so thin they had to whisper, trembling with fear and desire. But just 2 years later, in 1982, Whitney cut off the physical relationship. Her family, especially her mother, Cissy Houston, vehemently opposed it, saying outright that this love will destroy your career and your soul. From then on, Whitney had to perform the role of a heterosexual pop goddess, while Robin became the loyal shadow, friend, assistant, manager. The shocker was that even after Whitney married Bobby Brown in 1992, Robin still lived in the same mansion, only a few doors away, enduring fights and the times Whitney collapsed from drugs. On February 11, 2012, Whitney was found dead in the bathtub of room 434 at the Beverly Hilton. While downstairs, Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party carried on. The public called it an accident, but old friends whispered Whitney died in loneliness because the one true love of her life had been taken from her by family and society. The tragedy was not the death in water, but the truth that a diva who sang of everlasting love had to bury her real love since age 19. 9. Naya Rivera. When the character lived openly, but she died with a secret 40 years after Whitney, Hollywood witnessed another tragedy, this time named Naya Rivera. On Glee, Naya became Santana Lopez, a lesbian teen who dared to stand in a school hallway and shout her love for her girlfriend. That role saved thousands of LGBTQ+ teens, helping them find themselves. The cruel irony is that Naya, in real life, never dared to claim the story she told on screen. While Glee was at its peak, 2009 to 2015, rumors about Naya Rivera's private life never stopped. Many co-workers said that after filming, instead of joining cast parties, Naya would vanish with a young singer on the rise in Los Angeles. One summer night in 2011 in West Hollywood, the two were seen leaving a discreet artists-only bar hand in hand. They did not split up, but quickly got into the same black SUV. The driver took them straight to the Mondrian Hotel, where they disappeared behind a 9th-floor door and didn't reemerge until morning. Another story was even more shocking. During Glee's promotional tour in New Jersey, a freelance photographer claimed he captured Naya kissing that woman backstage right after a performance. He described a quick but intense kiss as if they no longer cared about the world around them. Yet less than 24 hours later, the original photo vanished without a trace. The photographer said he received cash from an unnamed intermediary to never publish it. Then tragedy struck on July 8, 2020, when Naya took her son to Lake Peru. By noon, the boy was found alone on the boat, and Naya had disappeared beneath the water. 5 days later, her body surfaced. The press called her a heroic mother who saved her child. But fans understood. The real tragedy was not only the death in the lake, it was the bitter fact that the character she played lived a brilliant public love, while Naya herself died with her true love hidden forever. 8. Diahann Carroll. The photo set that caused a stir after her death. Unlike Cicely, Diahann Carroll is remembered as Hollywood's Queen of Elegance. She was the first black woman to lead her own sitcom. Julia, 1968, won a Tony Award and earned an Oscar nomination for Claudine, 1974. On stage, she embodied pride and success. But behind that polish, her private life hid an almost unbelievable truth. In her memoir, The Legs Are the Last to Go, 2008, Diahann hinted that she had extramarital relationships not only with men. What seemed like an offhand remark ignited countless rumors. People said that in 1977, while shooting a film in Los Angeles, Diahann had an intimate connection with a female screenwriter. This woman appeared frequently at her Beverly Hills home. One morning, neighbors reportedly saw her leaving still in the evening gown from the night before. And even more startling, the media quietly whispered about Polaroids taken at private parties in the Hollywood Hills, where Diahann appeared close with other women. The crescendo came after her passing in 2019. The funeral ended with solemn grace, but soon after, the rumor mill churned again. In a locked room at Diahann's home was a collection of Polaroids from the 1970s. Those photos allegedly showed her embracing and beaming beside women unknown to the public. That truth has never been made public, but the rumor alone was enough to shake the artistic community. The public was stunned. The Queen of Elegance they revered may have lived two parallel lives, one for the spotlight and one for secrets buried forever. 7. Madge Sinclair, the strange woman in the hospital room. Madge, Sinclair, the Jamaican actress, left a lasting mark with Roots, 1977, and Coming to America, 1988. She married Michael Sinclair, but divorced quickly and had no children. Few knew that the marriage ended after a fierce argument in which Michael lashed out that she had never truly cared for men. In the years that followed, attention turned to the set of Trapper John, M.D. There, Madge often spent time with a female nurse consultant. The scene became so familiar that everyone noticed. After the camera stopped, the two quietly left and vanished into a silver car parked at the far end of the lot. No one heard what they said. They only saw the doors close, the windows fog up, and the silhouettes sitting close together. Those repeated moments hardened into persistent rumors. Madge was tied not only to her on-screen partners, but was living another story behind the scenes. The biggest shock came in 1994 when Madge was hospitalized with leukemia. Family members prepared to take shifts at her bedside, but at the reception desk, they were stunned to find that the legal next of kin card had been assigned to an unfamiliar woman. She arrived daily, walked straight through doors that family could not pass, signed all the important papers, and stayed by the bed all night. During the final months, it was this woman who remained closest, while blood relatives stood helpless in the hallway. On December 20th, 1995, Madge Sinclair died at 57. On paper, she left this world alone. But for those who witnessed it, the memory of the strange woman in the hospital room became the final mystery of Madge's life. A truth buried with her death. 6. Roxie Roker, The Vanished Love Letter. Sharing a similar tragedy with Madge Sinclair was Roxie Roker, famed for playing Helen Willis on The Jeffersons and mother of Lenny Kravitz, a trailblazer of American television. She married Cy Kravitz, but the marriage ended in the late 70s. A friend recalled that Cy walked out after finding a love letter written to Roxie and signed by a woman. The letter quickly disappeared, leaving a crack that never healed. Just a few years after the divorce, at a jazz party in Harlem, a musician said he saw Roxie dancing in a dark corner with a female journalist. They left before the event ended, and from then on, whispers about Roxie's private life spread quietly. Later in Los Angeles, a hotel worker said Roxie often booked rooms under an alias, always arrived with a younger woman, and demanded absolute privacy. On December 2, 1995, Roxie Roker died of breast cancer at 66. The funeral was quiet. Friends and fans remembered her as a pioneering artist. But among those who knew her, people still murmured about the missing love letter and the secret nights. Roxie left behind a question that would never be answered. Did she live a parallel life the world would never know? 5. Lynne Thigpen, The Quiet Apartment and the Unfinished Whisper. Lynne Thigpen was a familiar face on American television. From the children's show Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego to the crime drama The District, audiences remembered her broad smile, warm, low voice, and wit. Yet, while millions treated her like a friend in the living room, Lynne's private life was like a locked door. No husband, no children, rarely at parties. She almost vanished when the cameras stopped. Inside the industry, rumors were plentiful. Since the early 1980s, Lynne often traveled with a female editor from a TV station. Not a co-star, not crew, but she was everywhere. On set, in the edit bay, on theater tours. One detail caused a stir. Lynne always booked an extra unnamed plane ticket for productions, and that seat was almost always filled by the same woman. At hotels, people often saw Lynne and this woman enter the same room and lock the door until morning. No one dared ask, but everyone quietly understood. Tragedy struck on March 12, 2003. Lynne was found collapsed in her Marina del Rey apartment at just 54. The press reported a sudden death, but hospital documents revealed a detail that shocked many. In the emergency contact field, the name listed was not family or an old friend, but that very woman. Lynne's family had no idea who she was. Lynne's death did more than end a career. It opened a flood of questions. For 2 decades, she may have lived a secret love, one that existed only on plain manifests, in hotel rooms, and in a single cold line in a medical file. In the end, when she was gone, the truth stayed wrapped in silence, leaving one question behind. Did audiences ever truly know who Lynne Thigpen was? 4. Esther Rolle. The dinner no one mentioned again. Many of us remember Esther Rolle, famous as Florida Evans in Maude and Good Times. The public saw her as television's nationwide mom. Yet behind that proper image, Esther's private life left gaps that were never explained. She married once to a journalist and stage manager, but the marriage ended quickly for reasons unknown. In 1965, while acting in Miami, Esther attended a dinner with colleagues. A longtime friend later recalled, Esther sat beside a local theater dancer, the two so warm and easy together that the table grew tense. Just days later, that dancer appeared backstage at the Blacks, the play Esther was in. From then on, her figure seemed glued to Esther's schedule. Gossip spread through Miami's theater scene, but never made the papers. Throughout her career, Esther was famed for being discreet and principled. She turned down roles she felt distorted the image of black people on television. But regarding her private life, she was absolutely silent. A Good Times crew member revealed that inside a makeup room drawer at CBS Studios, Esther kept a small photo of an unfamiliar young woman. If someone entered unexpectedly, she would shut the drawer at once, as if hiding something that must not be seen. That only fueled more whispers. Was the woman in the photo the secret who followed her for years? When Esther Rolle passed on November 17, 1998, in Culver City, California, the press praised her as a model TV mom and emphasized her artistic legacy. Yet among insiders, those who had witnessed the hazy details, from the 1965 dinner to the hidden photo, kept murmuring that Esther's life was far more complex than the public image suggested. If there was a secret, it went to the grave with her, leaving a darkness no one can explain. 3. Marsha Warfield, a honeymoon suite for women. Only Marsha Warfield, the comedian best known for Night Court, always projected a witty, razor-edged image. But offstage, she never married, and rumors about her private life swirled. Industry folks said that in the early 1990s, Marsha had a quiet romance with a fellow female comic. The two would leave clubs at midnight and vanish together. The most shocking claim came during a tour in Las Vegas, where hotel staff asserted that Marsha requested a honeymoon suite just for 2 women. Yet neither ever went public. When Marsha died in 2022, the press wrote only of her career, while close friends whispered that she had loved a woman deeply for 15 years, but chose to carry that secret with her. 2. Florence Ballard, The Torn Diary, The Vanished Polaroids, and the truth behind leaving the group. Florence Ballard, the founding voice of the Supremes, once stood alongside Diana Ross and Mary Wilson in turning the group into a global Motown phenomenon. But behind the dazzling lights, her life was a buried tragedy. In the mid-1960s, when the group was at its peak, many tour witnesses said, Florence often disappeared after shows with a female crew member. A photographer in Chicago claimed to have captured a series of Polaroids showing Florence embracing and kissing this woman in a dressing room. Yet only days later, the film roll vanished. Rumor had it that Motown cleaned it up to protect the group's image. That secret relationship was also seen as a thorn in the eyes of management, especially as Diana Ross was pushed into the spotlight while Florence was criticized for being unfocused and unstable. Behind the personal conflicts and professional pressure, the hidden same-sex romance became one of the reasons Florence left the group in 1967, marking the start of a downward spiral with no return. A few years later, while cleaning out a house, a friend discovered a diary tucked under a pillow where Florence had written, "Only with her can I be myself." But when she died of cardiac arrest in 1976, just 32 years old, and so poor there wasn't enough money for a proper burial, her family tore up the diary, not wanting to leave behind a stain. The last pieces of evidence, from the vanished Polaroids to the destroyed pages, were lost, leaving one painful question. Was her departure from the Supremes and her tragic death rooted in a love Florence Ballard never dared to reveal? 1. Marla Gibbs, a spouse in the insurance policy. We end this list with Marla Gibbs, the sitcom star of The Jeffersons, known as a strong woman who married young, divorced early, and spent most of her life on her own. Behind the scenes, many colleagues noticed an unusually close bond with a female personal manager. Someone revealed that in an insurance policy, Marla listed this manager as spouse, even though they were not legally married. They appeared together at every event, but Marla always called it friendship. When she died in 2022, that manager was the sole person in charge of the funeral. The public was stunned. Could the friendship repeated for decades have been the true love Marla Gibbs chose to keep hidden until the very end? You see, behind Hollywood's glittering lights are lives forced to be lived twice, one for the public and one for themselves. Hidden letters, vanished photos, nameless loves. All of it went down several feet into the earth with them, leaving us shocked and full of sympathy. So, which detail shocked you the most? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts so we can look back together at a chapter of cultural history that stayed hidden far too long. And don't forget to follow the channel so you won't miss the next part, where we will continue unsealing secrets that have never been told.